Good morning from Cologne. Beautiful day. It's not freezing. So after 2 weeks of frost, we actually have sunshine and a weather that invites us to think about spring. How about that? I'm just leaving the workshop because I prepared it. Stuart and I are working on yet another project that we do want to get finished. There's a story behind that was for something I did yesterday that was incredibly stupid. Anyway, so let's see that we get what we're going to work on over into the workshop. That's good. So before I start working on the mirror again, a little anecdote here. 2 days ago, it was so cold, we couldn't do it in the workshop, so I just sat in the dining room and for an hour and a half or 2 hours, rubbed this Louis XV mirror with paint thinner to get off the spray gilding, that fake gold. So, little did I know that, I knew that, well ventilated room clearly wasn't happening, and I was so sick the next day. And right now I can't even think about paint thinner because it's awful. So I'm going to wear a full respirator today. Where is it? There. And hopefully finish that all up, but there will be no talking because otherwise I sound like Darth Vader. So Stuart did an amazing job at recreating the one missing piece, the ribbon at the bottom of the mirror. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to make it darker. So what that means is that because it's so bright and white, it's not what we want to see. Even putting gold on it, it might shine through. So it's always better to have a darker base. And this is indeed the patina only. And the patina is acrylic based, so no oil in it. And it will just help to make this blend in because the back side will also be reflected in the mirror. There's also the option, of course, to use acrylic paint because it dries much faster. But using acrylic paint for a yellow ochre for this as a backdrop for gold gilding. And yes, it is actually gold gilding because you can say gilding can mean any metal. Gold gilding refers to gold leaf only. So there is also silver There are all kinds of metals that you can use. There are aluminum or aluminium sheets. It's fascinating, and a lot of it is used nowadays by artists who really have embraced metalwork for their art, and it is quite lovely. So, see, no big deal. But if there's, once the glue gets on, which is ready orange, it will give it more of a background because the original mirror here has that dark gold underneath. So it will fit in, and you always have to look what you're working with in the original. And we're going to let that dry. And I'm going to discuss with Stuart what gold we should use to repair the mirror. So, here we are trying to determine what gold we are using. And I have to get, hold on, I have the booklet here. So, gold comes in these booklets. Some of them are loose and some of them are transfer, meaning they are stuck to paper. This is loose and this is transfer. Stuart is loose and this is transfer.
Right.
So I have German double gold. This is 23.5 karat gold. And we're looking at the color. And this is French red gold.
Yeah, this one is. Yeah.
Yes, so I think that's pretty clear, isn't it?
It is pretty clear.
So this is the French antique red gold.
Yeah.
Once this is put on, and we're talking about all the areas that we have repaired with gypsum, and they've been sanded, so they're nice and smooth, and they're now ready to be re-gilded. And it's very clear that that is the gold we need to use.
Exactly.
One thing I really wanted to do is give the mirror a quick clean up before we start with the gold gilding, because it just looks so yuck. So, my favorite spray. Okay, that's pretty loose. And of course, this is a 250-year-old mirror. Very nice. Well, nice enough. And that's just the center. And we have to fiddle it in there, so we have to use really small implements here. But it works. It just, and it will in the end make the mirror even more shiny, because then there's more reflection that used to be there. That's how it was designed, but got lost over the centuries. 2.5, that is. And so that needs to be polished one more time, but then it will be looking really, really nice. The sun actually decided to come out on a winter day, and it's not a horribly cold winter day. And this is just this little bit in here is this dirty. So that's what I mean with when I say once this is all clean, and I will clean this in the end again when it's hung up on the wall. And then I will use my alcohol distilled water mix. It's great for mirrors, and it's wonderful also for the crystal chandeliers, which I use. I'm very careful with old crystals. You don't want them to be stressed by high temperatures or harsh chemicals. So but that will happen after this is hung up in the Grand Salon, where it will live as long as we're here. Oh, that is, what a lovely difference that is. This, I did resculpt this with specific glue, gypsum that actually has a natural glue in it, which is called rabbit hide or animal hide, but it's called rabbit glue. And it helps the gypsum to adhere to the old gypsum where you repair. It's lovely. And this is just comes off the mirror. So this corner you can see, this is actually a mirror. You can't see that it is a mirror. Switch that here right quick. And again, yuck, yuck, and yuck. But can actually, when I look down, two lovely, lovely mirrors. How nice is that? Hi there, so I'm not quite sure if, let me show you that if the camera can, if that shows up. So these are gold paint brush strokes right here underneath that I need to dissolve. And at this point I'm using plain acetone because I'm not working on the gold. And it's nail polish remover basically. Takes a little bit, but it also doesn't damage anything. But that's very, very slow process, unfortunately. You all know I'm not a patient person, but you have to do what you have to do. Okay, here we go. That was quite a huge brush stroke right next to it. If one does such a horrible thing as painting this with the most low quality gold paint, because there's good quality gold paint that looks really, really nice. This wasn't it. So then at least wipe it off when it goes on the mirror, not hard. What a dreadful little afternoon here in Saint-Boudel. The chateau is lovely, engulfed in a bit of rain. Not horrible, but that's why I'm going actually through the chateau to get to the workshop without getting completely soaked. And I'm going to put the base on, the adhesive for the gold gilding and for the restoration of that Louis XVI mirror. And it's really exciting. Let's go. So just to show you the areas that need to be restored are painted with yellow ochre, and it looks awful right now, I know, because it's very bright and odd. But so this will now get the base glue for the actually French red gold gilding, which I'll put in there, on there, when this had time to settle, because that takes about an hour. What we're also doing is putting just a hint more gold where there should have been gold, or more shine that it's just not there anymore. And we're going to put only a little bit of gold on there. Last thing that I'm putting in here is the ribbon that Stuart has recreated. And so what you do is we're going to put a little bit of a wood glue that does not contain solvents. That's very important. So in here and on there, as well as on the edges of our to be glued little thing. So let me put that in. That is such a beautifully snug fit that Stuart created here. It's amazing. Really, really nice. Wow. Once that is re-gilded, you will not know that this was not there. It's fantastic. I mean, God, I wish I had this talent. Okay, there's one thing I really wanted to point out. I've seen people paint their materials in dark red and then put gold gilding over it. The red, or there's also an ochre color, yellow ochre, that is the adhesive. And when you look at the adhesive I just put on, there it is. And it's still very fresh. And then you look at where there is the loss of the gold. It is basically the exact same color, and it's not a dark red. It's this dark orange color that is the base for good gold gilding. That's what you need. Don't just paint it red and go over it with gold. It's not the same. So what I'm doing now, because it's primed, it's dry, it's primed, it's glued in, I'm going to use, we will ask Kerner Permacoal. That is the adhesive, which, if you look closely, has the exact same color that the original adhesive for the gold gilding, and yes, that is what it's called. Was called gold gilding, or is called gold gilding. Well, so it's the exact same color. That's why I love this company so much, because they really are quite amazing in what they do. And again, we're using French dark gold, which is an antique. Oh, look at that. I have to wipe that off. It's antique gold that was used in France for centuries. So we try to keep this really as authentic as we can, because it is a Louis XVI mirror. And who doesn't like a nice Louis XVI mirror, right? So all of this, when you add the glue, or the adhesive, I should say, it will take a while for it to be usable. So you put that on, and it depends on, of course, the temperature, the humidity, and all that. So right now, it's kind of, a bit dull, I should say. And after a while, it turns really shiny. I know when you look at it on the screen, it looks shiny, but it will get a different color, a different sheen. That's when you can add your gold leaf, and we'll get there when we get there. Okay, we have our 23.5 karat gold here. I'm going to cut that in half now. This is a bit tricky, this piece, because it's very elaborate and fine in its dimensions. And let's see. Yep, not bad. It takes quite a bit to do these things. There's always something that does not quite work the way you think it should. So don't worry about it. It is what it is. And we keep on going.
Okay. Should be good. Then we leave that on there to wipe off later.
Yes, how about that ring?
Okay, let's do
Because that looks very shiny. Okay, this has been regilded, has patina on it, and as you can see now, it's kind of sticks out a little bit like a sore thumb. A bit, not much, but in order to blend that in, we're using wax. Just a hint of gilding wax. And then we wipe that off, and we are left with a gold surface that looks absolutely amazing. Look at that. Again, you can still see it looks too new. It's lovely. And this is just basic blending. So now it's just too gold and too dull, and we just polish it over. And it is stunning, as it is supposed to be. There we are, all cured, all dried. What I'm going to do now, I am going to buff this a bit. You could also use agate. It's a specific tool which I might use in the deeper crevices. You can also use, for example, the back end of a brush. It's called burnishing. And that's actually good enough because we don't need it shiny, but you want it to be attached. So I am putting the patina on it to basically give it about 250 years of dirt. And that's actually what it comes down to. The patina that makes it look more realistic in terms of aging is just emulating dirt and grime and all those lovely things. Okay, so we just wipe this off a bit. What that also leaves behind, which is nice, is of course the darker residue in the recesses, so it gives this much more dimension than it had before. I need to let this dry for a couple of hours, and then I will come back and I will make this blend in with this part. So here we are. You can see that even though it has the patina on it, it clearly does not quite blend in. So I've mixed and done things with waxes and all, and now we're going to see how and if we can get this all a bit more uniform. And this is an area where you have to have sheen, so this can't be dull. As you can see, it's already much better, but I still need a small brush because the deeper depressions here are still too red. Can't have that. A hint of it is great. We do now, very carefully, as you can see, this looks pretty even now. Of course, it's still to be seen a little bit, but that is okay. Okay, that was the last bit. So that means this will soon go into the Grand Salon, and that's truly exciting.
Okay, so I hope the camera can really pick up how beautiful this mirror turned out.
Now, can we talk?
Some learning lessons in this project. Right?
Yes, so I was really sick as a dog for an entire day after I worked for 2 hours with turpentine in an enclosed room. Don't do it. Just take it from me. Don't do it. It was not pretty. So, but many hours, and we could spend many more doing even more minute detailed cleaning. Which I spend about, I don't know, 2.5, 3 hours already. And for the time being, I'm just done. I think it looks absolutely phenomenal.
So happy with how that
turned out better than we expected it to be honest.
Yeah.
And I love that we have, so this is tarnished old, either white gold or silver gilding, as a lack of a better word, metallic. So all these things here were shiny, and these little, it looks like pomegranates, and the grapes, they came out beautifully. We had no idea, and everything was just matte and ugly.
It was, yeah.
And who knew that this was such a phenomenal gilding underneath that ugly paint? So whoever did that, I still want to slap that person.
And really happy with the repairs that we did, and the way that the piece turned out in the ribbon too.
Yes, and some of these were made with plaster repairs, and this was, of course, the one that Stuart did, and it just all blends in, and we have a uniform, beautiful 18th century mirror, circa 1770, we were told now. So Marie Antoinette had already set the trend with 2 different gold-colored gildings. So here we go. Here it is. Couldn't be happier.
Right, and it also gave me a project for the future, because remember, we have the wallpaper that was on the back. So there's another project because of this that I'm going to try to put together, that wallpaper that had the peacocks and the
bleeding hearts
on it. That should be beautiful.
Oh, and parrot tulips, which were at that time a complete novelty. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, so that'll be fun to put together.
And that will be hopefully eventually available for sale at the Chateau shop.
Yeah. So that's it for this episode. Everyone have a great weekend.
Subscribe and like, recommend us to your friends, helps us tremendously. And really thank you so much for all your input and your support.
Yes, and we will see you next week.
Absolutely.
Au revoir.
Happy weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this video, please use the like feature to let us know. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our Journey to the Chateau YouTube channel if you would like to see more. Once you've subscribed, You can tap the notification bell in order to ring it, which will allow you to receive all notifications from our channel. Thank you.